Hello, Internet. Once again, it's time to read the Bible. Maybe a little low energy this video because I had to work an extra hour at my job. So I will attempt to still be energetic, but if you notice, that's why. Anyway, for the Old Testament, we will be reading Genesis chapter 20, verse 1 to chapter 22, verse 24. I don't know who to read it as. I'll do. I don't know. We'll just. I'll make up a voice. Now, Abraham moved south to the Negeb and settled between Kadesh and Shur. One day, when visiting the city of Gerar, he declared that Sarah was his sister. The king Abimelech sent for her and had her brought to him at his palace. But that night God came to him in a dream and told him, "You are a dead man, for that woman you took is married." But Abimelech hadn't slept with her yet, so he said, "Lord, will you slay an innocent man? He told me, 'She is my sister.' And she herself said, 'Yes, he is my brother.' I hadn't the slightest intention of doing anything wrong." "Yes, I know," the Lord replied. "That is why I held you back from sinning against me. That is why I didn't let you touch her. Now restore her to her husband, and he will pray for you, for he is a prophet, and you shall live. But if you don't return her to him, you are doomed to death along with all your household." The king was up early the next morning and hastily called a meeting of all the palace personnel and told them what had happened. And great fear swept through the crowd. The king called for Abraham. "What is this you have done to us?" he demanded. "What have I done to deserve treatment like this, to make me and my kingdom guilty of this great sin? Who would suspect that you would do a thing like this to me? Whatever made you think of this vile deed?" "Well," Abraham said, "I figured this to be a godless place. They will want my wife and kill me to get her, I thought. And besides, she is my sister, or at least my half-sister. We both have the same father. It's weird, I know, but I'm sorry." Sorry, I went off in my own tangent. Um, "And I married her, and God sent me traveling far from my childhood home. I told her I have a kindest bitch would ever become with you and my sister." Then King Abimelech took sheep and oxen and servants, both men and women, and gave them to Abraham, and returned Sarah his wife to him. "Look my kingdom over, and choose the place where you want to live," the king told him. Then he turned to Sarah. "Look," he said, "I am giving your brothers 1,000 silver pieces as damages for what I did, to compensate for any embarrassment, and to settle any claim against me regarding this matter. Now justice has been done." Then Abraham prayed, asking God to cure the king and queen and other women of the household, so that they could have children. For God had stricken all the women with barrenness as a punishment Abimelech was taking Abraham's wife. Then God did as he promised, and Sarah became pregnant and gave Abraham a baby son in his old age. At the time God had said, and Abraham named him Isaac, meaning laughter. 8 days after he was born, Abraham circumcised him as God had required. Abraham was 100 years old at the time, and Sarah declared, God has brought me laughter. All who hear about this shall rejoice with me. For who would have dreamed that I would ever have a baby? Yet I have given Abraham a child in his old age. Time went by, and the child grew as was weaned. Abraham gave a party to celebrate the happy occasion. But when Sarah noticed Ishmael, the son of Abraham, and the Egyptian girl Hagar, teasing Isaac, she turned upon Abraham and demanded, get rid of that slave girl and his son. He's not going to share in your property with my son. I won't have it. This upset Abraham very much, for after all, Ishmael too was his son. But God told Abraham, don't be upset over the boy or your slave girl. Wife, do as Sarah says, for Isaac is the son through whom my promise will be fulfilled. And I will make a nation of the descendants of the slave girl's son too, because he is also yours. So Abraham got up early the next morning, prepared food for the journey, and strapped a canteen of water to Hagar's shoulders, and sent her away with their son. She walked out into the wilderness of Beersheba, wandering aimlessly. When the water was gone, she left the youth in the shade of a bush, and went off and sat down 100 yards or so away. I don't want to watch him die, she said, and burst into tears. She said, sobbing wildly. Then God heard the boy crying, and the angel of God called to Hagar from the sky, Hagar, what's wrong? Don't be afraid, for God has heard the lad's cries as he is lying there. Go and get him and comfort him. For I will make a great nation from his descendants. Then God opened her eyes, and she saw well. So she refilled the canteen and gave the lad a drink. And God blessed the boy, and he grew up in the wilderness of Paran, and became an expert archer. And his mother arranged a marriage for him with a girl from Egypt. About this time, King Abimelech and Phicol, commander of his troops. Yes, sir?